Okay guys, today we are reviewing how to multiply decimals. There's three important points made here. It says multiply the numbers like normal. We're not going to worry about the decimal points until we get our answer. One thing I want to draw your attention to though is when we have numbers written out horizontally, we always want to put the longer number on top. And I think I wrote that in on your notes already, but we want to put the longer number, not the larger number, because here 7 is larger than a half, than 0.5, but the one with the most digits is what we want to put on top. After we get our answer, then we're going to count the total number of decimal places or hops in both numbers, and we will move the decimal point that many places to the left in your product. And the product is the answer when we multiply. So on number 1, I'm going to put 0.5 on top times 7. I'm going to shift 7 all the way over to the right as far as it can go to the last digit. We're not lining up our decimal points like we do when we add and subtract. 7 times 5 is 35. I'm going to carry my 3. And then I'm going to take 7 times 0, which is 0. And 0 plus 3 is 3. Now I'm going to place my decimal. In this case, it looks like I'm dropping it straight down, but what we really do is we look and we count the number of places past the decimal point. So there's one number past this decimal. There is no number past this decimal. So that's a total of one place over I need to move my decimal point. So I start at the end and I move it over one time. So I get 3.5, 3.5. Okay, on number 2, the longer number is 0.08 times 12. Notice I don't line up my decimal points. I shift the bottom number over as far to the right as I can. This time I have to multiply the 2 times the 8. I'm going to ignore the 1, the 2 times the 0, and the 2 times the 0. So 2 times 8 is 16. I'm going to carry my 1 to the next number. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, and 2 times 0 is 0. Mark off that one. Now I'm ready to multiply the next row. Since it's a 2-digit number, I'm ready to multiply the 1 times the 8, 1 times 0, 1 times 0. But since the 1 is in the 10 spot, that would be right here, I have to put a 0 for a placeholder before I can multiply the 1 through. 1 times 8 is 8, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 0 is 0. And now I've multiplied both the 1 and the 2 to get through, so I can add up my answer. Okay, and now I look and I see I have 2 places past the decimal here. I do not have a decimal here, so that's a total of 2 places over that I move my decimal point. 1, 2. So 12 times 0.08 is 0.96, which if we estimate 12 times 0 is 0, so it's going to be, that is a good estimate. Number 3, I have 3 digits in both numbers, so it does not matter what number I put on top. So 3.42 times 5.15. This time I'm going to have 3 rows. Up here I had 2 rows because I had 2 numbers to multiply through. Now I'm going to have 3 numbers. So 5 times 2, 5 times 4, and 5 times 3 first in the first row. 5 times 2 is 10, carry my 1. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21, carry my 2. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17. And then I'll mark those that I carried off. And now the next row, I'm going to multiply the 1 through. 1 times 2, 1 times 4, 1 times 3. But first I have to put a 0 there so that my 1s will stay in the 10s column. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. And we try to keep our numbers in columns nice and neat. Now I'm ready to multiply the 5 through. 5 times 2, 5 times 4, and 5 times 3. But now I have to add 2 zeros as placeholders because I have 2 digits past the 5. 5 times 2 now is 10. Carry my 1. 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 1 is 21. Carry my 2. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 2 would be 17. And now I can add up my columns. And now I have to think about where I put my decimal. If I was going to estimate this answer, I would round these decimals to the nearest whole number. So that's about 3, and that's about 5. So 3 times 5 is 15. So we can guess our decimal point's going to go right here after the 17. Okay, but I look at my problem. I have 2 numbers past this decimal point, 2 numbers past this decimal point. 2 plus 2 is 4. So I'm going to move my start at the end and move it over 1, 2, 3, 4. So I get 17.6130. On the next one, I'm going to put 0.46 on top because it has more digits, times 1.9 on bottom. Multiply the 9 through. 9 times 6 is 54, but I have to carry my 5. 9 times 4 is 36. Plus 5 is 41. 9 times 0 is 0. Plus 4 would be 4. Mark those off. Now I'm ready. My next row is going to be multiplying the 1 through, but I have to put a 0 for a placeholder. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 0 is 0. Add it up. If I was estimating, 1.9 rounds to 2, so I'd have about 2 times 0, which is 0. So my answer should be between 0 and 1. Okay, on this number, I have 2 numbers past that decimal, 1 number past that decimal, so a total of 3 places over. 1, 2, 3. So it is 0.874. Okay, on the back, a couple word problems. A movie theater is having a special. If a group of 4 pays $7.25 each for tickets, then each person can get a popcorn and a drink for $5.75. Use the expression. An expression is a problem without an equal sign. 4 times a quantity of 5.75 plus 7.25 to find the total cost for 4 friends. So what they're doing here is they're adding the cost of popcorn and a drink with the cost of a ticket, and that's how much one person will pay. So we'll add that together. Remember, we line up our decimal points. Looks like one person will pay $13, so we added those 2 up, and now we're going to multiply it by 4 because there are 4 friends going, I guess, a group of 4, yes. So I'm going to put 13 on top because it's longer than 4. I can put 13.00 if I want to, but $13 is the same as written 13 without a decimal point. 4 times 3 is 12, carry my 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So it looks like they will pay a total of $52 for 5 friends. The last one says the wings of some hummingbirds beat 52 times per second when hovering. If a hummingbird hovers for 35.5 seconds, how many times does its wings beat? So that's how many times in 1 second, and they want to know how many times it would be in 35.5 seconds. So I will multiply those together. This one is the longer, has more digits, so I will put that on top and put 52 below it. I'm going to multiply the 2 through first. 2 times 5 is 10, carry my 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, carry my 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Mark off the ones you carried. Now we're on the next row. I'm going to multiply the 5 through, but I have to put a 0 for a placeholder first. 5 times 5 is 25, so I'm going to carry my 2. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 2 is 27, carry my 2. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 would be 17. Add it up. And now I go back and I see I only have 1 number past the decimal point. I have none here, so I only need to move it over 1 time. So that hummingbird will beat its wings 1,846 times in 35.5 seconds. All right, so now I want you to practice it. You have practice 1-2, and we'll check them.